Hello，大家好啊！今日咧好開心啊，咁就同阿 Nick 一齊咧就講下呢個 Stamp Duty refund 呢個嘅主題啦。咁如果大家真係有買過喺英國入邊嘅屋啦，咁如果你喺英格蘭啦或者威爾斯度買嘅時間咧，咁咧就大家都知道啦，要俾多3% 嘅 Stamp Duty 啊。咁但係咧，原來呢3% 嘅 Stamp Duty 咧係有機會可以 refund 得到嘅喎。咁啊，今日咧就邀請咗阿 Nick 啦，同大家去講解一下啦。咁呢個 Stamp Duty 嘅架構係點樣啦？咁啊，基於啲乜嘢嘅法律嘅依據咧，我哋可以分翻咧。咁咧就呢個時間咧，邀請咧阿 Nick 咧為大家講解一下嘅咁樣。Hello Nick，can you say something about the background information of stamp duty?
Yes, absolutely. So we are specialists in reclaiming stamp duty, overpaid stamp duty on residential properties that were purchased within the last 4 years. If a property was in poor condition, if it was purchased by an investor or someone buying a second home, then you may well have a case for getting a stamp duty reclaim. And so the plan is to work this through with Kyle to explain this all in a little bit more detail.
嗱，咁其實呢個原理咧就係話，如果大家係買一個 buy to let 啦，或者呢個 second home 啦嚇，即係你已經係要俾嗰3% 嘅額外嗰個印花稅嘅話咧，而間屋本身買翻嚟時候咧，嗰個狀況係唔太適合居住嘅話咧，咁咧已經咧可以符合到一個嘅基本嘅要求啦。啊，你係有機會咧係可以去申請到呢個 stamp duty 嘅 refund 嘅。Like, can you explain about how the chance for the investor to have
Sure.
the refund of the stamp duty?
Well, since we're here, as it were, and since I've done some homework on this, I'm going to share my screen and just go through some of the prompts that I've put together on this. The main thing with the legal rights is the Finance Act 2003. And in that, it says that if you make a mistake on your self-assessed stamp duty submission, then you have the right to fix that error. So in other words, if, for example, you have a property that was in poor condition at time of purchase within the last 4 years, and your conveyancing solicitor said, you've got to pay full residential rates of stamp duty, then you can argue that was actually a mistake. And we'll talk about why that's the case. But the bottom line is that the law in England says that you can have your stamp duty case reassessed if you request it. And the reason people like us exist, Stamp Duty Advice Bureau, is because it is quite complicated and you do need a sensible case to do it. And so we help put that together. The reason you can go to the government or to the tax office and say, excuse me, there's a mistake, is down to this case, PN Bewley versus HMRC. And this was a case where a property developer had made a self-assessment for, I think, £1,600, and HMRC queried it and it went to court. And HMRC lost the court case. And the judge said in the court case that if a property is not habitable at time of purchase, then it should not be assessed as residential for stamp duty purposes. And the idea is that a residential property is a dwelling which can be inhabited. And from that case, we've got case law precedents, as it were, that states that if not habitable at time of purchase, then should not be assessed as residential for stamp duty purposes. But of course, what happens is conveyancing solicitors don't know about this legislation, and well, they know about the legislation, they don't know about the case law, and therefore they just say, well, we'll assess as residential for stamp duty purposes, and then you get hit for a load of stamp duty.
係啊，咁就係根據呢個 Financial Act 003啦，嗰度入邊所講啦。咁其實如果大家真係俾嗰個額外嘅3% 印花稅嘅話咧，咁基本上咧嗰個 background 嘅 information 咧入邊咧，其實已經係隱藏咗咧，就係呢間屋咧係一定要適合居住嘅，咁你先至需要俾呢3% 嘅印花稅。咁即係話咧，你買翻嚟出租又好，或者你嘅 second home 都好啦，咁間屋咧係要適合居住嘅話咧， 你咧就先至係值得係俾啲30% 印花稅。如果咧你俾咗咁啊，但係間屋咧係本身係買翻嚟嘅時間咧係唔適合居住嘅話咧，咁咧基本上咧呢個咧就係等同於一個係錯誤計算咗個印花稅咧，係可以係有權咧去申請咧退回嘅。咁咧過往嚟講咧就係因為有一個係 PN Bewley 嘅一個公司啦嚇，咁佢哋咧就係曾經有 case 咧就係話咧佢哋買翻嚟嗰間屋咧的而且確咧係計咗個住宅嘅印花稅，係俾咗多咗嗰3%嘅。咁但係咧原來呢間屋咧本身個狀況咧真係唔適合居住嘅，咁佢咧就去向法院嗰邊啦，就英國嘅稅局咧去打官司啊，咁結果咧就係呢個 PNB 咧就係贏咗啊，咁呢個稅局咧就係敗訴啦，咁咧就係要將呢個嘅印花稅額外收咗嗰3%嘅印花稅咧要退翻，咁咧就係因為原因咧就係間屋咧就唔適合居住啦，咁唔適合居住嘅屋咧，喺個稅局嗰個印花稅定義咧，就唔可以當為一個嘅居住嘅一個物業咧，去收除呢個印花稅啦。咁從而呢個印花稅咧，其實咧就係收多咗嘅。咁其實呢個追溯期咧，依家引用翻嘅話咧，其實我哋可以追溯翻咧係4年嘅時間啦。如果你曾經買過一個物業係俾過呢個印花稅，而4年之內咧，你係發覺咧，咦原來當初係計錯咗數嘅話咧，咁咧你係可以咧揾翻阿 Nick 嘅公司啦，呢個 Stamp Duty Advice Bureau 啦，咁佢哋咧會幫你去做一個嘅 case file 嘅。咁個 case file 入邊咧就會俾翻稅局嗰邊睇翻當初咧買翻嚟時間一個狀況啦，係點樣啦？例如係個裝修係非常之殘舊嘅，又或者係咧你本身間屋咧係啲電啊、啲鋪線係唔合乎呢個安全嘅規則嘅，或者係個煤氣啊上邊啦嗰啲嘅規格咧都唔符合咧呢個居住嘅安全嘅話咧，咁其實咧呢啲嘅其中一啲條件啦咁亦都係證明得到咧你間屋咧唔適合居住嘅話咧，咁其實你都可以申請翻嘅。
Okay, well, Carl, if you give me some numbers here. So let's say bought less than 4 years ago, it's a residential transaction. And were any of the purchases non-UK resident? Let's say they were non-UK resident and they bought it through a company. And let's say that it's one of your students or someone recommended by you. Now, our standard fee is 35% of the total sum refunded. And we'll see all the numbers in a minute. But if you're one of Kyle's students or you've been recommended by Kyle, then our standard fee is 30%. Anyway, let's put in some numbers. So let's say how much, you give me a house price, Kyle, how much?
Let's say 100,000.
Okay. So then the total refundable stamp duty would be £5,000 and the minus fees, so you would get £3,500 and our fees would be £1,500, 30% fees. So that's that. But if, for example, you were talking about, say, £150,000 property, then the stamp duty reclaim, and we've had lots of these, in fact, stamp duty reclaim would be 7,500 and you would get £5,362. Now, you might have noticed that this percentage has gone down. The bigger the refund, the smaller the percentage. For example, we've got a particular case that's coming through where the buyer has paid around £400,000 for something and percentage drops down to 26. So, big claims, smaller percentages.
咁大家見到啦，其實一個好簡單嘅計算機啦，咁大家就會見到咧，其實你可以將個物業嘅價錢係輸入落去啦，咁其實個標準收費咧就喺你可以refund到嘅 stamp duty 入邊咧，咁佢咧就會收35% 嘅，咁咧就但係咧，如果你經我嘅介紹啦，你哋咧就可以係將個收費咧就減5%，咁落到30%啦，咁就呢個係 reclaim 翻出嚟嗰個 stamp duty 入邊嘅收費嚟嘅。咁呢個收費咧，其實就唔成功唔收費㗎。你覺得你間屋咧係值得咧係可以申請到 refund 嘅話咧，咁咧你又可以聯絡阿 Nick 啦，咁佢哋咧就會幫你做 assessment 啦。咁呢個免費 assessment 啦，咁同埋幫你申請去呢個稅局嗰邊啦，咁去睇下稅局咧係咪批啦。咁如果批出嚟嘅時間咧批咗啦，咁咧呢個收費咧先至出現嘅。咁但係咧，我覺得呢個就係一個好值得去做一樣嘢，因為咧，如大家真係買一間屋翻嚟，你係諗住係出租又好啦，自住又好啦。咁相信咧，如果個間屋個本身咧係個 condition 唔好嘅話咧，我相信大家都會花一筆嘅裝修費用啦、裝修啦、翻新佢啦。咁如果你話個 stamp duty 本身已經係收咗你啦，咁你再加埋個維修費咧，咁其實咧呢個有兩個嘅開支啊。咁但係咧，如果你話可以喺嗰個 stamp duty 嗰度咧，你可以refund翻俾自己喎。 咁你見到一間屋個價值越大咧，你越可以咧 refund 得多你個 stamp duty，咁咧可以咧反而咧係減翻低大家個開支咧，咁呢個咧亦都係個好嘅做法嚟㗎。咁亦都係法例上邊咧賦予大家咧係有咁嘅權利去做啊。咁所以咧千祈唔好錯過呢個機會啦。呢一個嘅片咧係俾一個簡單嘅介紹俾大家啦。咁如果大家真係咧想知道多少少啦一方面資訊啦，咁當然大家可以去到阿 Nick 嘅呢個嘅 Stamp Duty Advice Bureau 嘅網頁入邊啦，可以去了解一下啦。咁甚至乎咧，你可以直情喺個網上面嗰度咧去遞交一個咧係申請嘅意向啦。咁咧阿 Nick 咧就會有專員嘅同事咧就會幫大家聯絡噶啦。Hi Nick, can you share your website so people can log in and have the application directly on the website?
Yes, absolutely. So stampdutyadvicebureau.co.uk. And we will be setting up a landing page for Kyle. If you go to stampdutyadvicebureau.co.uk, and then if you just contact us, either you can register and use Kyle's coupon code, which is 1021, so 1021. If you use that coupon code, then you'll be eligible for 30% fees as opposed to 35% fees. And if you just answer a few questions and then register with us. So it's very, very easy to do that. And then we'll start the process with you. And thank you very much.
Thanks, Nick. 係啦，非常之多謝阿 Nick 嘅介紹啦。嗱，咁去到個網頁嘅下邊嗰度咧，咁大家其實輸入翻啲資料。咁個 coupon code 咧，大家就由1021咧，就係呢個 coupon code 咧，就可以幫大家咧喺成功申請之後咧，就可以減咗5% 嘅呢個收費啊。咁呢個咧就亦都係一個好嘅位置，可幫大家再慳到啲費用啦。咁同埋大家可以係 refer a friend 㗎。咁如果大家真係有朋友咧係都真係買咗屋喎咁樣，咁亦都想係幫佢慳到嘅嗰個印花稅，咁其實你都可以 refer 呢條 video link 啦，俾你個朋友啦，咁都話俾佢聽其實個印花稅真係可以有個機會去減免緊。咁我自己都係用家嚟嘅，我都係用緊阿 Nick 嘅 service 啊。咁我有幾間屋咧就係 within 呢4年入邊咧買翻嚟嘅時間。個 condition 唔適合居住，而我亦都花一大筆錢去裝修。咁嗰啲屋咧，依家就申請緊啦。咁今日非常之多謝大家睇我哋嘅片啦。咁希望呢條片咧幫到大家。咁之後咧仲會有其他新嘅一啲嘅資訊啦，關於呢個印花稅退減呢一方面嘅。咁我哋咧做拍片咧就 update 大家噶啦。今集嚟呢度 ，thank you 各位，拜拜 ，thank you Nick。